So now I'm going to continue my educations at Howard Graduate School of Education, focusing in learning design, innovation, and technology. I did my bachelor in economic and business at Minerva University, where I had the chance to study and live in 7 cities across the world, starting off in San Francisco. Then I moved to Seoul, Hyderabad in India, Buenos Aires in Argentina, London, Berlin, Taipei, and wrap up in San Francisco again. I forgot Berlin in Germany. I think my journey has always been related to technology and education, even though I did, my bachelor in economics, which has led me to work in many companies and organizations focusing on education technology.
Conversations that could go on between the two groups or more. I heard there's also like other years that are in this.
Greetings everyone, I'm Usaran, a news reporter at Cambodianess. So in front of me is Soth Outdomchakriya, a female student who will soon pursue her master's degree at Harvard University, which is widely considered as one of the best schools in the world. So without further delay, I would like to know more about your academic background as well as maybe we touch upon a bit on your master's degree. Yes.
Sure, thank you for having me. My name is Soth Outdomchakriya, you can call me Riya. I did my bachelor in economic and business at Minerva University, where I had the chance to study and live in 7 cities across the world, starting off in San Francisco. Then I moved to Seoul, Hyderabad in India, Buenos Aires in Argentina, London, Berlin, Taipei, and wrap up in San Francisco again. I forgot Berlin in Germany. I think my journey has always been related to technology and education, even though I did, my bachelor in economics, which has led me to work in many companies and organizations focusing on education technology. So now I'm going to continue my educations at Howard Graduate School of Education, focusing in learning design, innovation, and technology.
So at first, why did you realize that you were interested in technology and what inspired you to embark on the field?
That's a good question. I think looking back, every part of my journey has always been like education and technology. If I were to like really pinpoint where it began, I think when I was in like grade 8, I joined Technovation Cambodia. So it's a program that trained girls on coding and entrepreneurship. Back then, I didn't even like know what a computer is, but I joined the program, which has been like very inspiring and almost life-changing in a way that taught me technology always gonna be there. It's gonna play a part. So going forwards, it has always followed me. Like for example, when I was in 3rd year in university, I went back and interned for Technovation, but the global team in the US. And then after that, I moved to other like tech and educations. And after I graduated my undergrads, I worked at App Inventor Foundation, which is a team under MIT App Inventor. We design block codings for millions of students, millions of learners around the world. So yeah, in a way, it's always been part of my journey. And at one point, I realized that this is what I want to do for a long, long time. And there's so much more that I don't know yet. And I want to like get that skills, get that knowledge. So that led me back to school, yeah.
Yes, maybe we can touch upon a bit on the initiative that you have participated so far or have launched so far. Maybe you can highlight a few that you want to highlight, yes.
Yeah, looking back, a few programs that I think play a role in my journey now, going back into education world, was, I volunteered with Technovation Cambodia before I started my undergrads. And then in my first year, when I had my semester in Seoul, South Korea, I met with a local high school and I wanted to like create something while I was there. So I worked with them to bring the World Scholar Cup to host in Seoul. So for the first time, and it was also after COVID, so it was like a couple years of like no similar programs or initiative like that. At that time, I was first year in university, and I told the principal like, if you trust me, I'm gonna bring this like global program to your school. It's either you do it or I'm just gonna go home. And then it was like, yes, we want it. So over the month, I coordinate with the schools, with the students. They were like over 100 students in that school. And I coordinate with like the team in the US. And in 3 weeks, there's like the Seoul round of the World Scholar Cup there. And I think that was one of like the bigger first programs that I felt like I started from the discussion in the beginning until its end, until like it wrapped up. And the students, which I train and leads the programs as well, they went on to like compete in like the the global round, and even like I think one went to compete at the very end at Yale University. So that was one that was memorable to me. And beside that, in school, I also did a couples of extracurricular clubs, including Google Student Developer Clubs, where I reach out to people in the tech field and have session like this, like interviewing them and like getting the students to know about what it's like to work in those roles. I was also a Notion student ambassador. So Notion is like a note-taking and AI-powered apps. I was among the earlier cohort where they would give me fundings to create learning opportunities in school. So even like looking a couple years back where I didn't know I'm going to pursue education as like a higher education, like for grad school, like afterwards, I feel like it's always been there. It's always been in my journey. Yeah.
So how about your contributions to the Cambodian local girls? Like, do you think that your journey inspires them, and in what way that you have them right now, or maybe the previous years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was before COVID, so end of 2019, that when I volunteered with Technovation Cambodia before I went abroad to pursue my bachelor degree. Because I joined the program myself, I came in with the mindset of knowing how impactful it could be. So I pitched to the Technovation ambassador in Cambodia at that time, like, let's promote as much as we can. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna go out to schools. I'm gonna like do the talking. So I bring like a small teams going to different schools and basically beg for like 5 minutes to introduce the programs to girls. And at that time, it was almost like eye-opening to be on the other side of the coin. Like, I was a student, I benefit from this program, so now I'm the one who like try to share it out. And it's memorable to me because at that time I'm trying to explain to them what coding is, and no one know what coding is. So I have to like, like in movies and you watch people like type on computer and they hack into system, that is like an example of coding. And that's when they knew, which remind me, when I joined, I didn't even know how to use a computer. So now in that program, I went on to like basically help many girls learning to use computer mouse for the first time and join the programs that has won like great, like such a big impact for me. So I think that year we have a lot of students, but because of COVID, we had to like change on the spot. So I think that's one ways that I think has taught me to adapt to the place, to the context we're in. Not only we had to adapt to like locals, to like the world stage of like having to be online at that moment, but also to Cambodian context. And beside that, I also create like a youth group to promote opportunities for students to join these programs called PHNOM, which is like a government-funded exchange program to Japan. At that time, it was not well promoted in Cambodia, and somehow I found it online and got in. And when I'm back, I was determined that everyone gonna know about this, more students going to benefit from this. So from the first, second year onward, we managed to reach like many more students, especially in the province. So after the program was 5 years, after my year, I was proud to say that many of these students could benefit and know this program through my initiative and the team that we did this together. But even when I'm like abroad, like studying a full-time student myself, like my home's always been in my heart. I always like reach out back to like share any resources that I could, whether it's like one junior that I know or like a couple like 20, 30 students that like in my network.
So you might have heard already that the technology field was previously known as the male-dominated field. So what were the challenges you faced along the way and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when I started out, like I told you, with Technoation as a little girl, since the programs focus on only female students, my mentors and other like people in the organizing team are mostly women. So I think I started out with like almost the reverse like belief of that, because every like tech person, every like CEO I knew at that time was a woman. So I went with like this, I didn't go in with that like concept of like how it's a more male dominated field, right? But as I venture in further and further, whether like through schools or working, I could feel that the bias is still there. There's moments where I felt like my team didn't take me seriously based on me being a woman or based on how I look, until I get to show them my work, and then it clicked, and then it like went away. But it would be way better, not just for me, but for like many women out there, to not be doubt of her ability or her potential just because she's a woman. And to be honest, I think it's like a much bigger, complex societal problems on how we can fix that. But I think what we could do individually is to just show up, do the work, do the best that you could, change one person's mind at a time, and hopefully after a while it's going to be like a system. And especially for women, I think we should continue to inspire younger people, especially other girls, to say that this is possible. See yourself in like these like roles, see yourself in like these opportunities, and do like basically give it forward, like to like bring more girls, bring more people to do what you do, to share it out, like no gatekeeping.
Yes, it's great to hear that even though you were in the US or many countries or cities around the world, but you still like contribute to our girls, to our women in field as well. So how about the major that you are pursuing right now, the master degree, and you will leave Cambodia for the master degree soon in the US. So what is the connection between your work, your BA, and right now the MA?
Yeah, because okay, so what I'm going to pursue for my master degree is called Learning, Innovation, Design, and Technology. It's very flexible. It's really depend on what you want to get out of the programs. And personally, what I want to get out of the program is to focus on how to localize new solution, new tech solution in different contexts. I have worked in global organizations where the focus has mostly started out in like the US or in English, and then it's like slowly spread out to other countries, even Cambodia, like for example, Technoation when I work. And one thing I realized is that just because you translate, let's say, the curriculum or like the tools, it's not gonna work. You can't just like throw it and then hopefully it click. It's a whole system to set up the audience that you want to impact, to give them the foundation skills, to give them the mindset to be able to like utilize this resource. And that's what I want to do. I want to be able to connect the dot basically with solutions that like coming up with the audience that want to use it, while looking at not just the personal level, but like the program level, the system level, which looking back with the major I did in undergrad, it was economic and business. So I think it really helped me to kind of see it from multiple perspectives, not just like on learning or not just on technology, but what it's like to implement it on the ground. What if like profits or like finance is like in the way, because it's part of like the bigger picture. And so on that note, I also want to like encourage a lot of people that if you did your undergrads in something, it doesn't mean your master has to be like exactly what it is. Like feel free to like also explore further, which I did, and like many seniors before me also did.
Maybe we can touch upon a bit on the process, because many people might be curious on how you apply for the scholarship, and because maybe you are one of the 3 Cambodian students so far that got the scholarship to study at Harvard. Maybe the process and how difficult it is, and is that your first attempt?
So when I applied to my master in education, I started out by identifying what program I want to do. I knew that I wanted to do something related to technology. I want to focus on how to enable technology to different learners, to different people. So that's when I find out about the program at Howard. And after that, I also like look for similar programs. You don't put all your egg in one basket. So I also applied to like 5 or 6 different schools. The process are very similar. It will be different for undergrads, but for grad school, I had a personal statement. I had 3 recommendation letters. At that time, I reached out to 2 of my professor and one of my my workplace head, like the head of my organization. And there's a resume, and depend on the school, there's like supplemental essay or like interview. I think I kind of knew early in the year that I might go back to school. I was considering between like continue working or going back to school. But at one point I realized that there's so much I want to know, and I just need time to go back and learn. So I think around September is when I decided, and the application deadline was late December, before like the new year came. And I think the whole process was not too difficult if you plan it strategically and give it like enough time, instead of like doing everything in the last couple of weeks. I first like reached out to my recommendation writer, told them about the programs that I wanted to do. I spent a lot of time writing my personal statement. And another things I did consider was taking a test like the GRE, which is a standardized test for grad school. And the test was optional, but you never know, if you never trust that it was optional or not. But looking back, I think I have strong enough GPA that I decided to just skip the test and go in with just my personal statement, resume, and like recommendation letters. And ultimately, I got into Columbia, NYU, Northwestern, UPenn, and Harvard. And Howard gave me like the best like financial and scholarship support. So, and also I love like the school is like my ideal programs, which ultimately lead me to picking Howard over other schools. I think first of all, I think having a good GPA show that you could like do graduate level work, which I think is just the first steps, almost like just to get through the gate, But when it comes to other extracurricular or internship, I did a lot of internship. I think those are what set me apart and show my interest in what I'm pursuing. Because in my personal statement, I did wrote from how it all started. Like when I told you I joined the tech education programs and I was in grade 8 and it continued and it's going on and on and on and on, like doing this now. So I think my whole journey and how I could show that this is what I wanted, and if given the opportunities to do this program, I'm gonna like do even better, is what I think stood out from my application. Like personally, I think showing that narrative, which supported by all the extracurricular and internships, kind of paint that full picture. First of all, I totally encourage everyone to apply like not just this one, but any opportunities in general that you are interested in, that you want. Honestly, shoot your shots. There's always gonna be this doubt that you feel like, oh, what if I don't get in? I'm gonna waste all this like time doing this thing for like nothing. But every part of the experience going to teach you something. When I started out applying, there's like so many applications I didn't get in that I'm like losing track of like what I didn't get in until it's slowly working out, honestly. And if I have any tips, I think it's really important to be really prepared. Like start early, reach out to people who's already in the programs, reach out to professor, find out everything about it. Like find out as much as you can about it and see where it connects with your story. And another practical tips I have is when you write about yourself in any application, assume that the reader knew nothing about you, because that is a blind spot a lot of people have, and they only like realize it when they start reading the application of other people. Like for example, I ran a global hackathon with people joining from all over the world, and when I read about them, I was so confused about what this means, because I didn't experience it, and that made me realize, oh, I probably did that mistake too in an application. So just be really clear, write with intention, like every word, every sentences are like with intention. Yeah.
Yes, but how do you choose, like how do you decide to choose that major, and what do you think the contributions or the benefits that major could benefit to Cambodia's development currently? Because you might know what the specific or key measures that Cambodia, that the country really needs in the moment.
Yeah, so I pick learning, design, technology, innovations, and choose to focus on that because of my personal interest. But at the same time, it is something that I still see a big gap, not just in Cambodia, but everywhere around the world. Because right now with AI and the new technology, it's going at such a fast pace that we didn't have the opportunities to fully understand how to utilize it for efficiency and ethically as well. And my time working at a global organizations focusing on technology and education and AI, I come to realize how no matter where, there's still gonna be groups of people that are left behind. And those are the population that I want to work with. So going in, I hope to learn how to kind of localize and like democratize the tools so more people could benefit from it. And I think it's especially important for Cambodia because at the moment I've seen that a lot of these tools are still in English or like created overseas. So used here, there's still so many contexts that need to be adapted or like need to be like meet with the local needs. So that's why I think this is the focus that I want to learn for my personal interest and for the impact that I want to create in my community as well.
So because you might stay in the US for 1 year for the program, master program, how about your short-term plan or the long-term one? Have you considered about it yet?
Yeah, so my short-term plan is definitely to continue learning and continue working. Maybe I will pursue a PhD in this. Maybe I will work. But my goal is to be an expert in localizing, in like translating the tools to meet the local context. And in the long term, I definitely want to help. I want to come back and like work on the solution in Cambodia, in my home, like in my community. But at the moment, I still feel like there's so much that I need to know, that I need to learn. And until then, I will work hard and try my best as fast as I can to be someone who could continue to like help other learn and help other like use technology and these kind of solutions in a way that like positively impact them. So during my bachelor, the 4 years, because every semester I moved to a different countries, think of it like every 4 months you pack up your life, fly to a new place and figure everything out again. Even so for small things that usually like you take it for granted, like how your phone plan gonna work, where is your nearby like grocery store, how do you cross the street, do you jaywalk or do you need to follow the rules, is it like okay to like do this in publics or what do you need to do. It's like constant readapting to new place, and I think that experience is what like benefit me the most from the 4 years of like traveling. It made me adaptable to new environment and stay really open-minded and humble for all these like opportunities that I get to experience and connect, and the people that I get to connect with. If you ask about culture shocks, I think it is less of culture shock, but it's more of like being just me, myself, like as a Cambodian, because I'm like the first one and the only one in my school. And if I go to like, let's say a small town or like the other country that I'm in, there's just no other Cambodian that I met or get to talk to in like half a year or a year. So that honestly is like a little sad, which kind of always like push me to like question, why isn't there more out there? Like, is it because we don't know about this? Is it because we like are not doing, which is like a big question, like, you know, to unpack. So every chance that I get, I always like go to my school, apply to this thing, join me. And I'm like happy that when I'm in like my second or third year, there's like another Cambodian come in, and like every year after that, there's like Cambodian students coming to my school. So yeah, it's about navigating the world solo. Yeah. From the very beginning, I always knew that I'm interested in cultural exchange, international like related programs and opportunities. I try to like go to as many as I can, which include like exchange, like cultural exchange programs. I even like did like a workshop at the UN on youth empowerments and many others. And a lot of those time, I found myself being the only Cambodian there. While that like made me proud that I get to be there, that I get to do all these things, but at the same time, it's give me this constant reminder of how of like why I'm like the only one there, why like why other country has so many more people, and what can I do to change that. So every program that I've ever participated in, always knew that as soon as I'm back, I'm going to like multiply this impact. I share to my junior, I get like more people involved. But in the moment, I just, you know, the pressure is on. You feel like people who always say, oh, I've never heard of Cambodia. Where's that? Is it like Colombia? You know, because we are like both sea. I feel like I just need to like do the best I can. Like this is the first impression and it's me. I'm gonna like show that I'm capable, that I'm friendly, that I'm helpful, that like, you know, all these like positive things that you want to show, especially for people that heard like more negative. Yeah, I want to give these like positive impression, especially for people who kind of know us not through like the best way, to almost change their mind about it. Like for example, when I work with many organizations or companies, they hear my name and they ask, oh, where are you from? And then I would say I'm Cambodian, and then they would only know like, oh, Angkor Wat or like Pol Pot. And then I'm like, but there's so much more, let me show you. So during those times, I always like try my best to like do the best I can, honestly. Yeah. So I think since I went to do my undergrads and I was like 18 or 19, so I had most of my professional experience interning and working in the US. For example, I work at Logitech, the mouse company. I work in the development teams of gaming equipments. And beside that, I work for a kind of education startup under my school called Study Kits, where we design new learning curriculums and resources for international students. Then I work at Technovation, and then I work at Inventor Foundations, beside working as a teaching assistant for my economic professor. There's times that I also work 2 jobs at the same time as being a full-time student. So I think all those experience, what I observe are different is that frankly, it's just the scales are different. Like, for example, I work at the headquarters that overlook 100 countries of the programs that I used to join in Cambodia. Things like that really taught me different problems to solve and what mindset I need to bring. Like, for example, Cambodia is my home. It's always on my mind. When I write assignment, I always use Cambodia as an example. Whenever I be part of these team, I always give an example oh, this is what we do in our country. I think it's a great solution. Why don't we do the same? Now I need to start looking in how to approach all of these with so many places. Not only I'm targeting Cambodia, but I need to also look what it's like to implement this with students in Africa and North America, all these places where it really broadened my perspective to really look beyond. And when that happened, it made me realize how different places could really learn from each other. We could also give really useful solutions to other places that have never tried it before, whereas we could learn from other places as well. So it's really full circle of this connection. So yeah, back to school, localizing, connecting people, connecting technology.
Yeah, back then, when entering those fields and those programs and those companies, have you ever considered that, oh, I feel so small in that company, I feel so small in that program? And do you think that it also paved a way for you to to fill the rooms? Of course, everyone has a room of improvement. So have you think that it shaped how you are now today?
So that's a very good question, because so many of my coworkers are my dad age, or they all have PhD from MIT, or all of that, which made me, of course, realize how I could be the least experienced, but at the same time, I am holding a position amongst these people. I had a big gap to fill. So it pushed me to deliver my best, continue learning, adapting as fast and as efficient as I can. So while I knew that I'm probably the least experienced, I am glad I'm in the room. I am glad that I get to do all of this. And I'm glad that I could still give values. And after a while, I established my place among them on how I too could produce this. But this is what made me realize that there's so much I don't know. So there's so much more that I want to explore. There's so much more that I want to learn. Yeah, it's just, when you know more, you realize how little you know. So I think it's just the cycles of kind of, you have a bit of imposter syndromes, but then you need to oh no, I gotta work harder. And then you work hard, and then you get more bigger project, more pressure, and then you fill in that gas, and it's a cycle. But I think that's just the same with everyone who's out there and working and building their career and continuing to develop themselves.
It comes to the last question. Maybe you can share a little bit the tips for motivational messages to all Cambodians, the younger generation, especially women who feel feel they're small, they are not capable enough, they still have many things to improve. Yes, maybe you can inspire them to take like the chance, step out of their comfort zone and start now.
Yeah, I think if I were to give advice or like to say something to other youth out there, well, even my younger siblings, I keep saying this, that you just gonna try it out. You just gotta create, yeah, just try it out. There's a lot of time where opportunities feel so far away, whether you don't even know about it or you read the requirement and Cambodia is not on the list of like people that they accepted, and you feel like a bit of like disappointment and discouragement, but still there's going to be something out there. There's like so much opportunities out there if you keep looking, and if you cannot find, create it for yourself. Like ask people, email them, reach out to them on LinkedIn. This is more like practical rather than like motivationals, but you would be like surprised by how such small impact, small actions, if you do consistently, will give you so much result. For example, there's programs that are not open for Cambodian students, or I'm like too young to apply, or I'm like haven't done the degree that they wanted. And I usually just reach out and like tell them, this is me, I could do this. And if you give me this chance, I'm confident I could do all of these like extra things. So please give me the chance. And sometimes it works. So look out there. If you can't find, create these opportunities for yourself.
So it's an inspiring story to hear from you, and thank you so much for joining with us. And I hope your story can also motivate or inspire other youth to begin now, start, like if they feel they're not capable enough, maybe they can reconsider again and like grab the chance, like maximize all the opportunities over there.